Cholleros, I am back and we're mixing it up today in beautiful Cabo San Lucas. Got the Land's End in the background, and today I'm going to talk about 5 things that I do not miss about living in the United States. Number 1, and at the top of my list, is politics. Politics, divisiveness, cancel culture, and the anger that comes with that. I've just seen so many people get in fights that screw up their day, man. You can go on social media and just see some of these comments people write, dude, and it's just all about politics. And I just don't know why people let that get in their head, but it seems like half the population is, just really into talking trash and being really into politics. And it's kind of like, to me, you're just a puppet for a politician at that point. Down here, I don't live any of that on a daily basis. The issues that I have in my life are generally of my own making. I don't have any of these issues with politics really keeping me up at night. And I just see a lot of this hate. And I think it's subsided to a little bit, but I think we're going into another election, and then that's just where this stuff tends to kick up. And it just seems like people are very much against each other, and that is not the case here in Cabo or in Mexico or in a lot of places outside the United States. Number 2 is the speed and the quality of life. In the States, I feel, and I can only really speak from personal experience, right? But it feels like everybody's in a rush to go nowhere. You're in a rush to go to the office. You're in a rush to go home. You're in a rush to go to the gym. You're in a rush to get this done before the next day. Rinse and repeat. And then those days turn into weeks, which turns into months, which turns into years. And then you're like, man, is this really worth it? At least when I was working a 9-to-5 in the States, that's what I was doing. I was questioning if this is worth it. One of my favorite creators is Gary Vee, and he talks about, just go into a nursing home or a retirement home and go talk to people about the regrets in their life. And I think you'll have a lot of people, especially in the States, that do have a lot of regrets that we're just following like a gerbil on the path, following the corporate ladder or whatever it is, and just not really doing what they love. And I think the newer generation is experimenting a little bit more about that. But to me, it seems like the speed of life. Here, everything is a little bit more relaxed. And because of that, I've been able to thrive and actually do better. Whether that's work, whether that's with my family life. But to me, the speed, what is it, the saying, don't mistake motion for action. So here, by kind of calming down a little bit, I've actually been able to expand and have more growth. Number 3 is going to be the cost of living. And I get it. So Los Cabos is one of the more expensive places in Mexico, but I'm talking about regular day-to-day things. So I'm talking about hospitals and healthcare. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about food. So I feel like when my grandparents were growing up in the States, a lot of these were public services, like education. And if I look at the schools that I went to growing up, and where I'm from, the public school system is not very good. It's a gamble. I'm very content with the school that my son goes to here, and it's probably 1/4, 1/5 of the cost of the school that one of my siblings is sending her son to. That's a year older. And I would actually argue that the quality is better. When I go home, I hear a lot of complaints about daycare costing too much money. Another thing is a lot of people come down here and question the medical care. And the irony of that is a lot of these doctors are getting educated in the United States. And while doctors here make less money, the argument that I've heard in the States that they're going to fix healthcare has been going on for ever since I can remember. So for 30 years of my life, I've been hearing how they're going to correct the healthcare system, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So I think that system is beyond fixable at this point, whereas here I can get very good general practitioners for cheaper, and that's like a dentist visit, whatever it is, Matter of fact, my wife and I were hiking Mount Somar there, and she slipped and got stitches. And this was a couple years ago, but the current exchange rate on that was $40 to get, I think it was 7 or 8 stitches. I asked my buddy who's a doctor, what that would cost in the States out of pocket, and he said easily $2,000. I mean, that's over a 20% markup in and we're not talking about open heart surgery, you know, something that's very sophisticated, or we're talking about stitches. Another thing would be the food cost too, you know, and the food in general here. I think the food is more natural. You know, you don't have these like hormones and things like that. So I've been able to eat healthier here. Places like Cabo, it's really easy to stay healthy because it's like this pretty much every day. So I can go for a hike, you know, there's so many outdoor activities you can do. So health-wise, I've actually gotten healthier here in Mexico as well. Number 4 is going to be keeping up with the Joneses. And once again, this is something that I can only speak from personal experience, but I feel like this is a very real thing. You know, the neighbor pulls up with a vehicle, you feel like you gotta have that vehicle. Your sister has the house, you feel like you have to have the house. This is something that maybe it's because I'm just here with my immediate family, but that pressure has subsided 100%. It's not something I deal with. And it is something that's very much in everyday life in the United States. People going into debt to buy things to try to impress people that don't even care about them. Repeat that again. People going into debt to buy things to impress people that don't even care about them. Once again, personal experience there. I did that. I wasn't really going in debt to do it, but I feel like a lot of the United States is doing that to prove and show people that they are a success. Here, at least for me, there's been zero. I don't need that validation, and I feel like the people that I know here don't need that validation either. So it's another thing. Keeping up with the Joneses for me is not existent here. Last is going to be family. You know, I believe that family values in the Latino culture are just very stronger. You have a lot of multi-generational households where you'll have, you know, the grandparents, the parents, and the children living, whereas that could actually be unacceptable, or at best case an inconvenience on the family if that is happening in the States, right? Or if, I'm not gonna say like the 30-year-old kid or the 35-year-old kid still living with the parents, that's a whole nother thing, right? But I feel like it's a lot more acceptable to have multi-generational families because the family is stronger here. You know, we just had Easter, and Easter is a holiday that Mexicans do not play around with. You know, they are with their families. There is not anything going on. It's like you are with your family. And it's just something that I see that is a lot more common here in Mexico than it is in the United States. And it's just something that I think I have a closer family life here in Mexico than I did in the United States. And that's not a knock on anything. It's just the reality of the situation. Those are 5 things that I do not miss about the United States, and to be honest, I trimmed that one down and I kept it PG as well. But if you guys enjoy this video, please let me know what you liked and if you want more content like this. And as you know, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. If you guys need help with anything real estate related in Los Cabos or in Baja, feel free to reach out. Hasta luego.